لا إله إلا الله. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. پہلے تو صرف فجر میں غائب ہوتے تھے، ابھی مغرب عشاء الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي الصلاة حي الصلاة حي الفلاح حي الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا, straighten the rows, fill in the gaps. Allahu Akbar. Allah. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a friendly reminder that the Janazah workshop will be happening here in Musalla in a few minutes. It will be led by Brother Afzal Saeed, and he'll be going over the Islamic and legal aspects that go into performing a Janazah. Again, it will be happening in the Musalla here in a few minutes. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the first time I'm seeing a lot of youth are here in the Janazah workshop, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. The youth are here to understand the Janazah process, especially the legal aspects of Janazah. Maybe one of them may decide to go and become a funeral director. Once you complete your college degree, 4-year college, then you can apply to become a funeral director. That will take you another 4 years to become a funeral director. So Mercer County Community College and a few other colleges in New York and upstate in New York. So inshallah, as you can see, my name is Afzal Saeed. I'm the licensed funeral director from the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and I'm working on towards getting my New York also. So currently, I am licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and working on towards getting my licensed funeral director at New York. My license number is at the bottom. This is very important for me. See this, the license number? I'm required by the New Jersey Mortuary Board that anywhere I discuss the funeral, I must mention my license number first. They want me to mention my license number. What that means is, anybody has complained, this is my license number. You will call them and tell them this guy with this license number. So it is a requirement. They are very strict on it. Sometimes they even revoke your license if you don't follow their regulations. So inshallah, as you can see, I'm going to discuss the legal aspects of funeral. Maybe some of you are here to maybe thinking that I'm going to discuss how to do the ghusl, how to do the washing, how to do the shrouding, how to prepare the body and all of that. That's a separate aspects of the funeral. There are 2 aspects for the funeral. And I will get to that in a minute. So basically, the funeral have 2 aspects, legal and religious, right? Legal and religious. Legal aspect of the funeral is physician certification, to get all the permits from the burial permit, transit permit, get health department clearance, get the state registrar involved in that process. And at a certain degree, they are involved in this because we have to get the permits from the state registrar. I'm not going to go into the details of how that is done, not too much detail, because I want you to understand that these are the things happening at the back end when we are making funeral arrangement. Because most of our community think that the funeral is the body is going to be here, and we do Salatul Janazah, and that's funeral. Wash the body, and that is called funeral. A lot of things are happening at the back end. As soon as we get the funeral call, my assistant start working at the back end to get these things, what the legal things I'm mentioning. Township registrar is also involved. At a later stage, they have to approve the death certificate also. Sometimes they reject it, all kind of things, right? Medical examiner, investigator is involved, depending upon if the case is with the medical examiner. If the case is medical examiner, the funeral is going to be delayed because they may perform autopsy, other stuff. They may waive it. They may not waive it. They are closed. The Middlesex County Regional Medical Examiner is a little easier, and I know all of them over there, so they process pretty quickly. But if the body goes to a state registrar in Newark, which covers Somerset County and Union and all of that, it's completely, if death happens on Friday and it's a medical examiner case, nothing happening until Monday. Sometimes they open on Sunday based on the religious, we told them and said them religiously we need it, all of that, so they do it. Otherwise, it's Monday, nothing is happening. At the back end, family is pushing me, you have the body here, why are you not doing the funeral? Correct? So legal aspects of the funeral. Then we have the religious aspect of the funeral. The religious aspect of the funeral is very easy. It's very easy. We have to do the washing of the body, ghusl. How many of you have done the washing or participated in washing? Raise your hand. You have washed? Yes. Any of the youngster? Never? So we do have a volunteer group. We do have a volunteer group for all of the masajid I serve, and MCMC, ISCJ, MCGP, Al-Falah Mosque, and these are all together, right? Local mosque. So right now I have separate volunteer group for each of the mosques, but what I'm thinking is to combine all of them into one group because they are very close to each other. So if the washing is happening at MCMC, maybe some of the members some of the brothers who live in near South Brunswick may want to come and wash here. Same thing, vice versa, they go. So I'm gonna combine. If you are interested, you will text me your name and number and I will add you in the volunteers group. The way it works is, whenever there is a need for volunteer to wash the body, I put in the group, whoever responds first, I confirm that. Whoever responds first, I confirm that person to come and help in washing. Sometimes we need the lead person to come and help in washing. So ghusl is the religious part is the ghusl, and there are multiple ways, right? Then you have prayer, Salatul Janazah, right? And there is dua, some prefer quiet, loud, all of that. And you can, now if I go back, what I'm discussing today, I'm not discussing this thing, right? I'm not discussing the religious part of the funeral. I'm not discussing how to wash the body. That is a separate, maybe Janazah workshop to be done by the imam to explain how to wash the body. Even though I know it, but I do not get involved in that part to explain the details because there are different school of thought. Like some of them wash 3 times, some of them wash 7 times. Right? They want to wash the body 7 times. I know people from the Yemen. I had an imam from Yemen. He said, no, 7 times I'm gonna wash. Okay, so inshallah, you have 3 hours to wash, 3 hours you take and wash 7 times, right? Another imam, he wants to do differently. So that's why I'm not involved in that. But again, I can handle that. But religiously, if one family says, I want to follow this imam to do the washing this way, I'm there to lead the ghusl, but I'll follow what imam says, okay, for that particular imam. Similarly for prayers, I don't get involved in it. Whatever imam wants to do Salatul Janazah, whichever way, that imam will do Salatul Janazah, okay? Dua and same thing, some prefer quiet, some prefer loud, all of that, okay? So this part, religious part of the funeral, I'm not discussing that today. By the way, this Janazah workshop, I have condensed from 4 hours to 1.5 hours max, with question and answer. Used to be 4 hours. And brother, remember, when we did the Janazah workshop here, 4 or 5 years ago, it was pretty long. So I cut it down to a lot. So legal aspects of the funeral, that's what I'm discussing here. Without completing all the legal requirements, we cannot do Janazah. We cannot do Janazah, right? I know, the people come to me and say, brother, we are Muslim, why you wait? Well, we live in the land also where we need to follow the laws too, correct? So religious, legal part. Custody of the deceased. Custody of the deceased. Who gets the custody of the deceased? When we pick the body from home, hospital, medical examiner, wherever, right? The custody of the deceased, the funeral director or the funeral home gets the legal custody of the deceased. Legal custody of the deceased. What that means is, when we take the case or when we pick the body, we are legally responsible to dispose of the body according to the law. That disposition can be burial, can be cremation, can be burning, can be all kind of things, right? Green burials they do right now, nowadays. We don't get involved as Muslims in that. In green burial, they put the body in a big tank or something with chemicals and rotate it so fast. It's not working? They can't? Okay. Okay. Oh, now it's better. By the way, Brother Arshad is the one who said we need to do another workshop at MCMC. He was working behind the scene. And Brother Arshad is very, he available most of the time to come and wash the body. So maybe Brother Arshad one day can do the religious one, how to wash the body, inshallah, okay? So I get the legal custody until the body is legally disposed of. Our case, Muslim, is burial. Non-Muslim, they do many things, and I'm not even involved in that at all. I don't want to deal with burning and cremation and all of that, even though the price list includes everything because it's a state requirement. Family gets a constructive custody. What that means is you can think from the name constructive, how they want to construct the funeral, right? Their wishes. They want to do Salatul Janazah at this time. They want to do washing at this time. They want to do prayer according to this fiqh. They want to do burial at this cemetery. All of that is legal. But if the family comes to me, and believe the family do come to me and say, brother, I'm going to go pick my mom from the hospital, meet me at the cemetery, I'll do the burial. So illegal stuff cannot be accommodated. So everything constructive custody, but alhamdulillah, within Muslim families, it's pretty not that hard. Some, I'll say 99% is pretty smooth, but once in a while we get some crazy stuff. We had the family we already buried the sister, and then later on all the family members start fighting with each other. They said, no, take the body out, we need to cremate her actually. We need to cremate her. So, and they were so forceful. So I told my other funeral director, go apply the permits for the township to get the body out. So luckily Allah saved her because she died of communicable disease. Anybody who's died of communicable disease, contagious disease, cannot be disinterred again once buried. So she was saved. But the other sister, the family was so adamant. Again, they want to take the body out from one of the cemetery and take to the different cemetery. So our 2 weeks of burial, we had to apply another permit, take the body out and take to a different cemetery. We tried our best. We had talked to Imam, all of that, but they don't want to listen anything. I told my other funeral director, go apply permits, get the disinterment permit. Body is here. They came to me. I didn't even open. It was December time, so the ground is very cold, right? So the body is frozen. Put in the different, casket and take it to the different cemetery. So many of the things that. Okay, so custody of the deceased, we get it. Then you have the funeral process. What is the funeral process, right? Place of death, and I did not write all of that. Place of death in general, it can be home. Somebody pass at home. Somebody may pass at hospital. Somebody may pass at a nursing home. Each case is different. Each case is different. But in general, the place of death. The place of death is there. Then from the place of death, the body may go to the medical examiner or may not go to the medical examiner, right? May go to the medical examiner, may not go to the medical examiner. For example, if somebody passes at home and he is 90 years old or she is 90 years old, the chances are the medical examiner will release the body to the funeral home. One of the funeral I did in 2.5 hours, from A to Z, everything. This sister, she was 89 years old, and the medical examiner called me. He said, meet me at the home. I'm going to legally transfer the body to you. So we transferred the body to me. We washed, Salatul Janazah, permits. My assistant, of course, started working right away at the back end to get the permits and all of that, and we did the burial in 2.5 hours. Other cases, we did burial after 4 days, because this is a 20-year-old who died at home, not under doctor care or anything. So the medical examiner didn't want to release the body. They said, well, our staff is coming to take the body to their office, and then the family requested for no autopsy, so they didn't want autopsy, but the medical is suspicious. Why this 20-year-old passed away? What happened? They did not waive the autopsy. So they did the autopsy, the body was released after 3 days. So all different cases, right? So body may go to the medical examiner, may not go to the medical examiner. And then from there, once the body is released from hospital, home, nursing home, and I'm not going in details because nursing home do not want to keep the body. When the death occurs, they want us to come and remove the body right away. They do not want to keep. They take us from the back door. They don't want all kind of things, right? Hospital also, minimum 3 hours, 2-3 hours. Now, in our case, Robert Wood Johnson Hospital, where most of the community members call me to pick the body from there, they are very strict. They are very strict. They give almost 6 hours to the family to stay with the deceased. 6 hours. 6 hours for the family to stay with the deceased before the funeral director moves the body, which is fine. But if the death occurs in morning, 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., and you want Salatul Janazah at Zohar prayer, We have 5-6 hours to work on. If 6 hours you're gonna stay in the hospital and the family members are coming and visiting, all of that, you think we can do the funeral at Zohar prayer? No. So, especially for Robert Wood Johnson Hospital or other hospital, they do not process the case until the family is sitting in the room. So, if that occurs, my advice to the family is right away, you stay there half an hour and move out of the room. Let them process the case. Then maybe we can remove the body in about 1 hour, 1.5 hours, right? Otherwise, this is not gonna work, right? So washing room, it goes to the washing, majority of washing in MCMC case happens at the MCMC facility. Everybody knows we have a facility here for washing. Who do not know? Everybody knows, I guess, right? We have a washing facility we built here, I think 7 years ago, when Brother Waqar was the president. At that time, 7-8 years ago, we built the washing facility, so the MCMC washing happens here, unless the case is contagious diseases. You may remember at the time of COVID, no washing was happening here, right? No washing was happening here. All washing were happening either at my funeral home, which I shared with another funeral home in Princeton, New Jersey, because we have all kind of equipments there, right? Best exhaust and all of that. Or it was happening at ISTJ because the facility is built in a way where all the windows can be opened. But even now, if anyone who dies of contagious disease and the hospital tell us that this is contagious disease, risky, all of that, then the washing happens mostly at my funeral home in Princeton, okay? Any masajid. Otherwise, will happen here or, other masajid. After the washing, what do you think is the next step? What is the next step after washing? You will come to the mosque, right? Salatul Janazah, ISCJ, NBIC, MCGP, MCMC, GCLA, and so on, wherever, right? After washing, we'll bring the body. In our case at MCMC, washing happens in the facility, and then we bring the body, put in the first floor here, depending if family wants viewing or do not want viewing. I have to make the whole schedule for them. We follow that schedule, and I'll show you later. And then after the mosque, where we go? Anybody? For burial, for cemetery, right? Just go to the cemetery. Again, what is my role here as a funeral director? I'm in the middle here. I'm working with the hospital to prepare the paperwork, whatever I need to prepare to get it. One important thing is, because Muslim funeral happens very quickly, the system in this country is set up that once somebody dies now, the funeral gonna be the end of next week. That's how the system is made, right? So my other funeral director, Ron, he does for non-Muslims. If the death call come to him now, the family will inform, tomorrow sometime they'll pick the body, then 2 days later the family will come sit down. They make the whole event, right? So there's no hurry, but we need to do the funeral as soon as possible, right? So I need to expedite everything. So I work with the hospital very quickly. I will give the family some tips right away. If one of the tip family gets is stay in the room maybe half an hour, 15, 20 minutes, and leave the room, go sit in the waiting area. Sit there. I'm gonna ask the nurse to please process the case, put the body in the body bag, and then uncover the face. Uncover the face if we are picking the body from the floor. Robert Wood Johnson allows to pick the body from the floor. You can request them not to put the body in the morgue. Same thing, Edison Hospital. Same thing, this one, St. Peter's, Princeton Hospital. They are allowed to pick the body directly from the floor because some people have objection. They do not want to put their loved one in the morgue. Men with the women and all kind of things. All right, they do not want to do that. Well, it's fine, but you get my tips for that. I give you the tips how to do it quickly. But if the family keeps sitting there, because what I tell the family is, I mean, you have family members going to the hospital and want to visit and see. Hospital, is not a nice place, right? In the room and all of that. I bring it here, you see here, it's better. Much cleaner place too, right? So me, as a funeral director, my role is in the middle, working with the hospital, nursing home, or all of that, and hospice. Work with the medical examiner to get the body released. Depends upon the case. Again, make an arrangement which mosque the family or which facility the family wants to do the washing, which mosque they want to do the washing. Again, at the end, I make the determination whether I need to, should I wash the body at that facility or not. If not, it goes to the funeral home for the reasons I told you earlier, right? And then I'm working with the mosque of your choice. Again, the mosques have restrictions too. For example, Friday, if the family wants viewing at 12:30, none gonna be possible because Friday prayer, right? Or maybe some other activities going on. ISC, they have many activities. MCMC have many activities. They have full-time school, all of that. MCGP have this. So it depends what is that mosque policy. We'll make arrangement accordingly, right? I will work with the cemetery on your behalf, and I will work with the state registrar and all of that, on your behalf. The point I'm trying to make it is, me as a funeral director or any other funeral homes, we are working with the family to make sure all the legal documents are secured and then follow all the regulations for the state, mortuary board, all of that, and mosque regulations too, and the cemetery. It's your decision which cemetery you want to do the burial. Which cemetery you want to do the burial. It's your decision. You do not want to regret like the other family who took the body out after 2 weeks of burial and took to the other cemetery, right? And we are very straight from the beginning that we are just making arrangement wherever you want. If you want Oaklawn, we make arrangement in Oaklawn. You want in Greenwood, we make a Greenwood. Marlborough, Jersey State, wherever. We are not responsible for the cemetery, we're just coordinating on your behalf, right? How to expedite removal from the hospital medical examiner. This is important because we want to do the funeral quickly, right? I already explained you, leave the room as soon as possible. The family sitting in the room, they do not process the case. As I said, Robert Wood Johnson give you 6 hours almost. 6 hours almost. So leave the room as soon as possible. And medical examiner, opt out for no autopsy if not necessarily. If you already know that your loved one, let's say is 40 years old and I have been going through some medical difficulties and all of that, right? 40 years old, the medical examiner most probably not gonna release the body and want to do the autopsy what happened, right? If the person was not under hospice care. If the person was under hospice care, is already under the doctor, right, care. Then the medical examiner even don't get involved. They just, someone need to certify the death, And the medical examiner say, okay, if the person was under hospice care, that doctor will certify, right? So opt for no autopsy. But there's another problem. If you opt for no autopsy, you will never know the exact cause of death. You have to sign papers. You sign paper, I'm going to notarize it, and I will send it to the medical examiner for autopsy, no autopsy, right? They work officially. The same thing officially we have to do it too. Request medical examiner. So let's say somebody dies at home and suddenly you can request a medical examiner. So the process works is this way. If somebody dies at home and was not under hospice care, you call the police. The police will dispatch the paramedic. Someone has to come make pronouncement, right? Officially. You have to wait for that person to be officially pronounced dead. I had the case, this family called me 12 midnight, and they said my brother passed away, or brother or sister, I forgot. I said, okay, text me the address so I can figure out who I'm going to send, or I'm going to go myself, whatever. For 30 minutes or 25 minutes, no text message back to me about the address. And this is 12 midnight, I'm up, right? No text message back, so, and no communication. I called myself after 25 minutes, and I said, brother, I'm still waiting for a text message so I can figure out who is going to go and pick the body. I think he's still breathing. That's what the answer I got from him. You cannot make the decision yourself. Brother doctor is sitting here, right? Someone need to officially make the pronouncement, right? You don't make your own pronouncement, okay? So when the police, for the medical examiner case, you can, when the police is, the way it works is you call the police, the paramedic came, they make the pronouncement. Now the police is going to call the medical examiner and going to ask the medical examiner and will give the case. This is the person who passed away, 40-year-old, 30-year-old, 90-year-old, and is under this person, this PCP, taking this medicine, or this person is 40, suddenly died, or they give that information to the medical examiner, and then the medical examiner make the determination, right? So you request at that time to the police to please tell the medical examiner to expedite it, or give the funeral home, funeral director name and number. Say, hey, this is the funeral director who will gonna process the case, this, just to try to expedite it, okay? Share the funeral director information, funeral home information right away with the medical examiner, right? Sometimes the medical examiner give family their personal cell number, not all the time. Like Hunterdon County, Brittany, or their medical examiner, she gave her personal number. So I called 12:30 midnight, she picked up the phone. I was lucky, basically. So, but ask them, and share the funeral director information, ask investigator for their cell number if possible, right? Most of the time they don't give, but sometimes you may get lucky, okay? Arrangement conference, okay? Arrangement conference. This is a requirement by Federal Trade Commission and New Jersey Mortuary Board, that only a licensed funeral director, they are very strict. I just did my continuing education training last week. They scared me almost for 2 hours. For 2 hours, hey, you don't do this, your license get revoked. You don't do this, your license get revoked. All kind of things. So there's a requirement by New Jersey Mortuary Board and Federal Trade Commission, a licensed funeral director, to have an arrangement conference with the family or their delegate, family or their delegate. And sometimes I do through Zoom call, sometimes the family comes to my office. My office is next to ISCJ. My office is next to ISCJ. Family prefers to come and sit. Believe me, every single family I dealt with, at the end of the arrangement conference, they pay a lot of thank you to me. They said, all of you explained here could not be done on the phone. They walk out with peace of mind. They walk out with peace of what is exactly happening, when it is happening, what I need, how I need, all kind of things, okay? So it's 2 hours, but sometimes I can get it done within 20 minutes, 25 minutes, okay? It is important that all family members who have a stake in the funeral, I'm giving for my experience last 14 years, I learned my lesson that how this arrangement conference should be done with all family members who have a stake in the funeral. If someone's father passed away and they have 5 siblings, it's better that all 5 siblings attend that arrangement conference via Zoom or in my office. I have seen conflicts after conflicts. People fight with each other. People sometimes roll their sleeves on me even. Why are you following this son, not me, daughter says. All kind of things, and roll their sleeves on me, right? I had the case, this brother, mixed family. Daughter is Muslim, and the son is non-Muslim. I scheduled the washing because the daughter transferred the body from another funeral home, authorized to transfer the body from another funeral home to us. So we have the body, right? And I scheduled the washing. I had volunteers, right? They came to wash the body. And the son, who's a non-Muslim, he came up with few other brothers. He stopped the washing. Not gonna let, you were there? I don't know, brother Arshad, you were there? Oh, you were for the first one. For with brother Ryan? Ryan? Right, that one. And they stopped the washing, right? I was not there. I had to rush there to, the police was called, there was assault, all kind of things. Police was called. It was happened at my office next to ISCJ. And the fighting happened. I came down, calmed down. The police, because the police don't know about funerals, anything about funerals. I have to explain them what are the laws and all of that. I took one by one the family members. I said, hey, listen, you're going to fight. Nothing going to happen. I'm going to hold the body, basically. Okay, washing will happen later, right? But anyway, both of them went to the court. Both of them went to the court. And I told sister, okay, 1 week is already passed now. The body's still with me. I said, sister, listen, you are in the court. I know you are in the court. Your brother is in the court. The judge is not going to give one-way decision. And your father will be with me for another month and a half. I have to embalm him to preserve or put in the cooler for 1.5 months. And I tried to convince her. I said, listen, take your application out from the court. The judge is going to say, go do the Muslim service and then give to them to do the non-Muslim service. That's what he's going to make the decision. So alhamdulillah, she understood. We did everything after that. A week after later, we did the washing and all of that. And then we gave the body. And the thing is, the funeral home which released the body to us, I have been pleading to them. I said, take the body back from me. They won't take back from me. They said, no, you are legally now with you now. I said, I'll pay you, take with me. But no, they won't take it unless both of them sign the papers. Okay? So this arrangement conference is very important, very important. Okay? What we discuss in arrangement conference, I already explained you who should attend this arrangement conference: legal next of kin or their delegate. Legal next of kin, right? This is with renunciation of rights to control. So if legal next of kin cannot attend the arrangement conference, they can delegate somebody else. I have a form called renunciation of rights. They delegate that person to make all those arrangements. Okay? But here is the problem I run to sometime. The legal next of kin assign somebody else to make all arrangements and do the funeral according to the wishes. All of a sudden, the person who is actually legal next of kin on the day of the funeral say, why are you doing this way? Who told you to do this funeral at this time, this mosque, this? So you are the one who signed and made somebody else the delegate. Ask him now. I don't even recognize you anymore because you already delegated someone and you signed the papers, right? But again, what is discussed in arrangement conference, all forms to be completely signed, but nowadays I have all the forms online now. So we send you the forms at the time when it is needed. And I'm going to show you some of the forms if the time permits. Release authorization form will be signed. Department of Health form will be completed, and the Department of Health form will be used to prepare the death certificate. All the information you provide. You have to be very careful when you provide this information, right? If you do not provide us the social security number, the death certificate will be without social security number. The death certificate will be without social security number. If you provide us only last 4 digit, the death certificate will have only last 4 digit. Once you get the death certificate and you take it to the bank, you take it to close the DMV, to the property, whatever, they may reject this death certificate. They say, hey, who's this person? Does not even have social security number, right? Names, the exact spelling of the names, especially for our brothers and sisters from Egypt, they have 4 names. Here they have 2 names. You take their death certificate to Egypt, one family is still fighting with them because one of the family put Muhammad with E and actually with the A. And they're still fighting with them for the last 3 years for property. They say, no, it's not the same person. So you have to be very careful when you complete this. Any medical examiner form, county medical examiner form or state, that need to be completed. We do all of that. Objection to, instead of me going back and forth with the family, right? You sit at one place, you sign all the forms, understand the whole process, and funeral will go smooth, right? Objection to autopsy. Okay, you sign it, because it says if you are objecting, you will never know the cause of death, this, you have to sign it. Then we send to the medical exam. Consent of services, legal next of kin or delegate must sign this paper. Authorizing funeral home to do the burial, in our case, according to Muslim practices, no cremation, no burning, all kind of things. You sign it, and at the back of the state law, which says who can do it, there is a priority. Priority is the spouse, then majority of children, then parent, then brother and sisters, then friends, and the final one is the judge. It has a whole priority, okay? So the consent has to be signed. I used to be lenient, not anymore. For the last 3 years, I'm not lenient anymore. That consent of services form is not signed because the family threatens to sue me. One of the family already threatening to sue me. I said, okay, go ahead. I have already completed all these forms. So I'm fully covered with notarized documents, right? They can do whatever they want to, because I released the death certificate to ex-wife. He came pick up the death certificate. Now her husband, the ex-husband, is saying, why you gave to her? Well, both of you has 50% right. You can go sue me, but both of you have signed this consent of services form, everything, with notarized. Overseas shipment, you can imagine, right? Overseas shipment it will take longer, right? Definitely. What question, why family? Before I get to, I guess all of you understand that if body need to go abroad, it will take more time. Correct? Very simple. I don't need to go into too much detail because US Customs is involved, consulate is involved, embalming, non-embalming may be involved, and all other things, right? But the question is, why family want to send their loved one for overseas burial? Anybody? I'm asking you a question. Brother Arshad, why anybody wants to send? And Brother Arshad helped me multiple times to convince the family not to send abroad, but I think a few times you were able to convince them, right? Never? They still go their own way, right? Even though you explain what we need. Fortunately, as soon as the person passes away, that will becomes null and void. Null and void, the funeral part. So if you write in your will, when I passes away, do this, do this, do this, do this, your wife may come in and say, all garbage. I'm going to do the burial this way. Okay? So, wish, but it's a good answer, wish. The family, in Muslims, it's not that hard, but non-Muslims, a lot of fighting happens. That will part is very important, because even though it becomes null and void, that they assign funeral agent and all kind of things, because they don't trust each other. Alhamdulillah, Muslims is 99.9% is not that fighting, right? So he said the deceased wish. What else? Why family want to send abroad? Huh? Yeah, no, this is, it doesn't make any difference if the person gets buried here or abroad. That property and all of that is, the death certificate is issued by the state, right? Yeah, they want to visit the grave more oftenly. What else? What about I give you two answers and you tell me which one the family wants? They want to send the body abroad. One reason may be they will open the body, want to view the face, right? Even though we did the washing completely here, open the body over there, view the face, do end the Salatul Janazah, and then do the burial, right? Another reason, they will say maybe, well, we're not going to open at all. We're not going to open at all, and we will just, the casket comes, we take from the airport, take to the local mosque, do Salatul Janazah, and do the burial. Out of these two options, which one you think the family is thinking in their mind or leaning to? First one or second one? First one? So I see one person said second one. Majority of the family is thinking the first one. Majority of family is thinking the first one, right? Now, if they want to see the face, you think they want to see the face which is not viewable? The body, as soon as the person passes away, So a doctor is here, right? Maybe one or two doctors here. They start decomposition. The process starts right away. Decomposition, right? So we have to preserve the body somehow if they want to do that. Then what we need to do? You want the embalming done on your loved one? I'm going to go very quickly. I'm not going to go into too much details. Embalming, basically we have to cut from here, a big rod goes in the heart, and we break, it's connected with the machine. And the chemicals going inside one way and pushing all the blood, and the blood is coming out from the other way. And the chemical goes inside, and we keep checking the body, because the blood is going out, right? And they're clotting also, blood clot also. So we have to push the heart, push it, the first one I saw when I was in the college doing my internship, this was a non-Muslim, but at that time I was doing my internship, so Muslim, non-Muslim doesn't matter, right? They cannot come out, he hung him like this to take the blood out, right? So blood, and inside all the chemical goes with the dye color, so it looks like a blood. So we have to keep checking and say, hey, is pink, getting pink or not, to make it appear real, right? And then all the blood is out. And then a big rod. I used to go in Janazah workshop to bring that rod to discourage people not to get this done. I forgot to bring it. It's a big rod here, it goes here, stomach, we poke it and break all the organs. We call it fanning. Break all the organs into pieces with like this, and then we put the formaldehyde inside. So basically you have to mummify the body completely. Then the body is preserved for a month, right? Sometimes, so if the family says no opening, all of that we can do, send the body abroad as long as the airline accept it. As long as the airline accepts the body in a sealed bag, right? In a sealed bag. Airlines sometimes don't accept it. So the law in the destination country do not allow to bring the body inside without embalming. Like if you are bringing someone from there to US or sending to UK, you cannot send without embalming. So this, right? So alhamdulillah, many times, Brother Arshad tried sometimes, I tried many times, and around 80% of the families I were able to convince them to just bury here. To bury here because this is what we need to do. Or if you're not gonna open at the destination, not gonna do anything, sealed bag, gasket, and it goes there and bury. All right? So, as you said, deceased wish, no opening of caskets, viewing, okay, documents needed for, I'm gonna go quickly, overseas shipment, from the family we need deceased original passport, even expired, receiver information, name, address, who's gonna receive, their cell number, cemetery information, address, all of that, airport where the deceased needs to be shipped, booking reference number, if the family is already booked their flight, then the airline give preference on the same flight, right? Other official document needed, this is for us to prepare. That's the information we needed from family. This is burial permit, right? Original death certificate. If the death occurs today and the family wants to send, what do you think? Anything can happen today? Nothing. Burial permit, I will get it because it's online, depending if New Jersey or wherever. But original death certificate, township is closed. So death certificate, township can issue on the same day as long as it's business day. If someone dies on Friday and want to send someone to abroad, that means nothing is happening until Monday. So you're delaying the funeral yourself, right? And many times the people say, Astaghfirullah, Brother Afzal, you're delaying the funeral. Well, you are delaying your own self, right? And speaking of that, even if we're doing the burial here in this country, if you do not complete the Department of Health form, you do not give us the information for 6-7 hours, how you expect us to do the funeral? So I get many cases like this, the death occurs in, let's say, 7 p.m. I give them all tips, I send the form. I say, make sure all the forms are completed, the Department of Health form, so we can work on permits, because my assistant gonna start working at the night time, right? And it's Fajr and no form is completed. And then all of a sudden, 9 a.m., the family will call, everything is all set for Janazah today after Zohar prayer. How? Right? So original death certificate needed, embalmer's affidavit is needed. Embalmer's affidavit is needed. No fake work, I'm telling you. No fake work. Because sometimes I hear from here and there, hey, we can just prepare our own embalmer's affidavit and we're not actually going to embalm it. All right? No, my license is very important for me, not just for myself, but for the community also. It's an asset for the community. So embalmer's affidavit, they put it that the deceased have been embalmed arterially or external embalming based on the New Jersey law, such, whatever. And then sign it and give it, right? Non-communicable disease letter. If the deceased died of communicable disease, body cannot be sent to abroad. The airline won't take it. So the physician or the hospital, someone need to issue this non-communicable disease letter. Sometimes we struggle with them for a whole day. Doctor is not available, physician is not available, or we are working all kind of things, right? So all these documents are needed. Let's go. Ritual preparation waiver form. This is the form which I discussed 2 weeks ago. I did a Zoom call for the sisters, because for the sisters WhatsApp group, I have combined all the sisters who volunteered at MCMC, ISCJ, Al-Falah, MCGP, NBIC into one group. And 2 weeks ago, I did a workshop for them that how to handle the body, because they don't know how to handle the body. They may know how to wash the body, how to do the ghusl, right? How to do the washing, how to do the ghusl, but they don't know if the body comes with open body, autopsy body, disease body, all kind of things. At the end of the day, what I told you in the beginning, who gets the custody of the deceased? Funeral director. So I'm giving the body to the sisters to wash the body. Anything goes in that room is still on my neck. It's still on my neck, right? Ritual preparation waiver forms. We used to get from the hospital a red tag on the body bag if the body died of any communicable disease. Not anymore. Not anymore. They said, just consider OSHA regulations. OSHA says, consider everybody is diseased, has communicable disease. So it means you need to follow all the protective gears. Okay? So ritual preparation form, and any family members or volunteers who come in the washing room need to sign this waiver form. Indemnifying the funeral home of any, because you can get disease, you can get whatever, right? It is possible. So everybody must sign this form to protect the funeral home. Remember I told you in the beginning, I used to think the Muslim not gonna sue you, but that was not true, okay? Viewing waiver form. If the family wants to view the deceased, and I make a determination that the body is not a viewable, like a burn cases, right? Burn cases. What are you going to see? The face. You're only going to see teeth and skull. But the family still want to see. So we say, no, it's not our determination. You should not view the body. But you want it, then sign this waiver form first and then see. Right? Medicaid statement of resources. If the person is eligible for Medicaid partial benefits, the Medicaid does pay towards some of the funeral cost. Okay? Waiver to understand the funeral cost. If the legal next of kin and their delegate, because in the Muslim community, I get a lot of calls, brother, please don't discuss cost with the family. Don't worry, we will pay, but don't discuss with the family. The mortuary board is so strict on this that if the funeral director do not discuss and details of the funeral cost with the family, the license can be revoked. It's a requirement. So we have to discuss with the family, even though the other family members say, please just leave it. Okay, so we have to, now the family sometimes say, well, don't worry about that. Whatever it is, just give us total, sign it and done. Okay, then sign this form for me, that you do not want us to explain you the funeral cost. As you can see, I want to follow every law, whatever. Do not want to take the risk. Because when I attend this college education, they are like so strict on it. Draft death certificate, review carefully. Draft death certificate, review it carefully, because once I sign it and accepted by the local township where the death occurred. So if the death occurred here in Piscataway, we prepare the death certificates, it goes to the state registrar, we get the permits, burial permit from there, and then the township accept it or reject it. Once the township accepted it, death certificate is final, done. No more changes, no more changes. And I don't understand sometimes how the family is filling a form and don't know if this person is married, and then 2 weeks later, this person is married. I get the form, family, death certificate is done, right? They say, no, the person is single. Okay, we file with this, state register, township is done, they accepted it, death certificate issued. 2 weeks later, the same family calls, oh, no, we made a mistake, this person was married. That's a big one. All right, in the spelling, you make little mistakes, social security, something, but so what I noted that this happens when the life insurance and things start coming. Okay, and just be very careful, because then you have to, we cannot change the death certificate when accepted by the township. Death certificate is issued only once. Any changes must be amendments. So if you say the person is not married, and we file the death certificate, township accepted it, we have the death certificate, 2 weeks later you want to change it, now they need proof. They want documentation, they want everything, right? When you are giving the information to us and we are filing the death certificate, we do not require any legal documents from you to prove if someone comes and say, I am the son of the deceased, okay, you are son of the deceased. I'm not going to say, hey, bring this proof or this proof or this. This person is unmarried, okay, unmarried, that's it, we file it. And the state don't require it either. But once you want to amend it, now you need all these paperwork. It may take months and years sometime. And you want this death certificate amended right away. It's not going to happen. And working with the state registrar in Trenton, in New Jersey, you think it's easy? They're sleeping. We file the amendment. After 1 month, I call and say, what happened to this? It's not done yet. We never received it. What do you mean didn't receive? I send you certified mail. I have the proof here with this. Okay, so you have to be careful. Continue life insurance policy if applicable. Cemetery disclaimer. Remember I told you, we are just making arrangement in a cemetery of your choice. If any issue with the cemetery, you have to work directly with the cemetery. So you sign for us a paper that we have explained this to you, and you still want to bury in this particular cemetery. Basically, when we sit in the arrangement conference, I explain the pros and cons for the family too. Which cemetery to bury, which cemetery have issue, which cemetery have lawsuit going on, things, this. And now you make the decision, right? Tentative, we will give you in arrangement conference, give you the tentative funeral schedule. I'll show you in a minute, okay? A statement of funeral goods and services, where all the cost of the funeral must be transferred into this statement of funeral goods and services, must be a legal document, legal size, cannot be both sides. Cannot be both sides, one side only, for a reason. They do not want the funeral home, the funeral director to play with the family. The family read the front and did not read the back side. That's why it has to be the legal on the legal page, and only one side, other side have to be completely blank. And you have to sign it, the funeral director, the licensed funeral director must sign it, and then the family, we ask the family to sign. If the family says, we are not signing, all we have to do, just write there, the family refused to sign. Okay, so this is very important. They are very strict on this one. Cost, What costs are involved? I can go in more details in a minute. Funeral home, all the costs for the funeral home must come from general price list, which is approved by the Federal Trade Commission and New Jersey Mortuary Board. Anytime we change the price, we need to change in advance. Not like the last moment, okay, Janazah is happening, let me just change it quickly. You can't. So this is for the consumer protection, okay? General price list. I will show you if, the general price. Cemeteries. This is like who gets paid in a funeral service. So funeral home, all costs come from there. Cemetery, right? The cemetery, whatever the cemetery cost is. But the easiest for me is nowadays is the family just go to the cemetery, sign all their paperwork, and make their payments directly, right? So because what happens is if the funeral cost, it all depends on the family. Sometimes the family pick a cemetery which is very expensive, right? And their cost is going like $8,000, $9,000, right? And they say, brother, the funeral cost is $9,000 today. Why is $9,000? Because you said it's $9,000. No, it's not on my statement. You went and paid $6,000 to the cemetery. You went and paid $6,000 because you want it in this cemetery. Some of the family wants cemetery which has nice landscape, greenery, all of that. Their decision, whatever they want, okay? So cemetery cost and estate registrar, township registrar. Depends upon, okay? By the way, the burial for an adult, not adult, the burial for a person who was born alive is easier than the burial of a fetus who never born alive. You may think that a person who never born alive, like a fetus, right? You may think it will be easier. That is hard than the one person who is already breathed into this world, even for 1 second. You see, everything done online. For fetus, we have to go township, to all the way to wherever the township, the death occurred in Newark, I have to send someone Newark Township and get the permit from there, not online, all right? Okay, I'm not going to release authorization form sample. Funeral schedule, in arrangement conference, we'll give you the funeral schedule like this. For example, okay, ghusl 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., viewing, if the family wishes to, depends upon. If there's no viewing, I'm gonna schedule the washing from 11:30 to 12:30. If we are talking specifically, let's say MCMC, right? So if the family says, they discussed with me in the arrangement conference already, no viewing at all. Okay, let's do or they say, yeah, let the viewing will be happening. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., let's say, will be the washing. Then viewing setup, Zohar prayer, Salatul Janazah, funeral procession to cemetery and cemetery. This is the schedule you get from me, from the funeral home. Because sometimes there are 3 funeral calls all of a sudden at the same time. So let's say this is scheduled Thursday, the call came, and this schedule is set up for this family. All of a sudden, 3 more funerals now in the night time, calls came. And since tomorrow is Friday, everybody wants on Friday now, right? Everybody wants one. So I have to go, because this one is already confirmed. I gave the schedule, the family knows this. I have to go around their schedule. So maybe I need to do the first 2 washing 8 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, right? And if there is one viewing, then their viewing need to be done before 11:30. All kind of things, right? The question is, the point is, at least me, I follow the schedule very strictly, very strictly. So I make it clear to the family, ghusl is 10 a.m. Don't come at 11 a.m. to start the ghusl. If you're gonna come at 11 a.m. to start the ghusl, how this is gonna work for you? Then you're gonna be mad at me that, okay, there's no viewing happened and all kind of things, right? So this is all discussed in the arrangement conference, where you discuss everything, right? Whether Zoom call or in my office. Confirmed funeral schedule will be given. Secondary contacts, pallbearers. Everybody know what is pallbearers? Everybody know? Who are pallbearers? What is pallbearer? You know? Brother Rashid. the one who carries the casket. So we don't use that term for us, right, for Muslims. Everybody help. Alhamdulillah, for Muslim, everybody wants to give kanda, right, like this. But this is for, depending on the cemetery, the family wish that only their family members, especially in the case of a sister, lower the casket in the grave. So they give me the names, 6 names, who's going to lower the casket. So you probably have seen me when I do the janazah, I control very strictly in the cemetery also. I want to make sure. Like the other day, just last week, the family gave me 6 names. All of a sudden, one person just, came and started holding like this, and the casket go like, phew, in the grave, like this. What can I do? That was the deceased, some close family member. His name was not there. The family gave me 6 names, that only these 6 names are going to lower the casket in the grave properly. By the way, I told you my legal custody, once the deceased is in the grave and we put the dirt, our legal responsibility is over. We have to witness the burial. Because in any time in the future, if the deceased have to be taken out, who you think they're going to go to? They're going to go to the cemetery and they're going to check which funeral director was present at that time. They will be responsible what happened, if they have to disinter the body or whatever. So schedule is, the point is we need to follow the schedule very strictly. 5 minutes here and there is fine, but not 1 hour or half an hour, because family don't understand. So I have to clear very specifically in the arrangement conference. Frequently ask questions, then I'll open the floor for you guys to ask any question. Okay, what should we do when the death occurs? I'm going to ask you to. What should we do? What should you do when the death occurs? Call the funeral home, funeral director, right? Right? It depends upon the case also, right? But again, it's a good idea to call the funeral director so they can guide you what to do next. So if someone passes at home suddenly, you don't know what to do, right? I mean, you should call 911. They will get the paramedic, all of them, but sometimes you don't, so you can call the funeral home, the funeral director, so they will say, okay, call police right now. No, this person on a hospice care. Okay, do not call police. The case gets complicated, because if someone is under hospice care and you call the police and the police dispatched the paramedic came and made the pronouncement. That person passed away. Now later on, hospice care, they will say, their doctors say, we ask them who's going to certify the death now. They will say, we're not going to do it because you called police and the paramedic. Go ask them now, their doctor to certify. And they're going to be fighting with each other, funeral get delayed. So it's a good idea to call the funeral home funeral director. Again, under hospice care, do not call police, only hospice nurse. This is another important thing. When can we announce funeral to family and friends? I guess by now all of you know. When can we announce? Right away? If someone passes away right now, you will announce, say, his funeral is tomorrow after Zohar prayer. Who will announce right away? Okay, let's say an hour before you attending this Janazah workshop. If I asked you when you going to announce funeral to your family and friend, you would say, death occurred, I'm going to tell everybody tomorrow after Zohar prayer. But now now you know some of the information, right? You cannot announce the funeral until you get the confirmation from the funeral director or funeral home. You can announce it, and it happened multiple times. The person passed away now, they already announced to the family, community, everybody, funeral after Zohar prayer tomorrow. Body is at the medical examiner. They're saying, no, we're going to do autopsy. After 2 days, I'm going to release the body. You already announced it. So make sure you get confirmation from the funeral director, okay? Another thing I get frequently, that are we ready to do the funeral once the body is released to the funeral home? What about this? Who knows the answer to this? Are we ready to do the funeral when the body is released? The hospital said, okay, here, take the body, and we have the body at MCMC facility. Are we ready to do the funeral? Yes or no? No, why? Arrangement, paper, permits, all of that. A lot of family thinks this, the body is released, and you have the custody of the bodies right here, Let's do the funeral. What are you waiting for? That's what one of the family, sleep on me. Okay? We cannot. Body is here. Release does not mean we are ready to do the funeral. We can do the washing, we can do Salatul Janazah, we can do everything. But we cannot go to the cemetery until we get permits. Right? Answer is already there. So basically there are 3 dependencies before you can announce to the funeral, to the family or friends. One is you already know permits, right? Once we have permits. Second, okay, we have the permits from the state registrar or township, so that is one. What about the second? Where we are burying the person, right? Cemetery. Let's say I get all the permits and I call the cemetery and place the interment order, and the cemetery says, oh, you want to bury tomorrow at 2:30? We have 3 more burials now. Tomorrow already scheduled. We cannot do the burial for 2:30. So that's second dependency. And the third dependency is, this is the first time it happened in 14 years. I had all the permits, but the body is not here. Right? This was coming from New York, and the medical examiner, the staff member was at the medical examiner office from 1 p.m., and they released the body at 7 p.m. And family already announced the funeral for Zohar prayer. I said, Zohar prayer, how this is going to happen? Okay, change to Asr prayer. Okay, you change yourself. I'm going to give you confirmation once I give confirmation. They announced everybody Asr prayer. Not possible. They announced for Maghrib prayer. I said, well, even if the body is coming from Brooklyn, 7 p.m., it's going to be, and that was when we had a big storm, right? 2 weeks ago, a lot of storm, right? All roads are closed. 7 p.m., if we leave, they're not going to be here until 9 p.m. Okay, after Isha prayer, I said, okay, now 9 p.m., if it comes here, we have to wash the body too. And the driver already saying, well, there's a lot of roads, closures and water and all of that. So finally, we were able to do, it was at ISCJ, luckily, because it's next door. The driver made 9:15. Arshad, we washed the body in half an hour. Since the body was coming from medical examiner, when the body comes from the medical examiner and they do the autopsy, they clean the body completely. The body is perfectly clean. All I had to do is just one-time washing, wudu, and done, and kafan, and done. So half an hour for washing and everything done, we were able to make 10 p.m. prayer at ISCJ. And we did the burial at 11:30 p.m. night. Okay. Another question, when do we get the death certificates? Either you can get the same day, depending if it is a weekday, from the township, but the township charge $25 or $20 per death certificate. A state registrar, 3-4 days or a week, and they charge less. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay. How do we find out if Medicaid will pay partial cost for the funeral? Because Medicaid does pay $3,056 towards the funeral home cost, and they pay $714 toward the cemetery cost. But the family cannot spend more than $1,570 on the funeral. So if you pick a cemetery where the grave plot is $3,000 and the opening closing is $3,500, you are already $6,500. The Medicaid not going to pay anything. Okay? So, but how do we find out? When you give us the information in the stat form, we call the social services, and they tell us whether the person is eligible or not eligible. Because in New Jersey, there are 75 programs, and 75 programs, out of 75 programs, everybody thinks that they have Medicaid, but they have Medicaid, but that to cover the medical expenses, not the funeral expenses, okay? Why the funeral is delayed? You guys already know now, permits and all of that. But one of the factors I keep on repeating, if funeral gets delayed, why? Why? Sorry? Yeah, that is, you already know that, but there's another reason the funeral gets delayed. Huh? Waiting for relatives. Okay, that's a good answer. But that the family is not cooperating. If the family don't fill the form for 8-9 hours, and I keep on pushing, sometimes I get pushed back to. Brothers, we are grieving. We have this passed away, this passed away. We don't have time. The family and members are coming meeting with us. That's fine then. Then don't push me to do the funeral because you're not filling the form for 9 hours, right? That's why my other funeral director, Ron, who does non-Muslim funeral, he says, I don't know how you handle the Muslim funerals because sometimes I give to him. I say, Ron, funeral is there. Before me as a funeral director, I was working with him, right? So he was handling all Muslim funerals for me, right? And I call him in the night, 12 midnight, I Ron, we have a call, a house call, pick up the body. He said, okay, I'll pick. Well, we'll do the funeral day after tomorrow. No, Ron, tomorrow funeral at this time. Oh, you know. So, but alhamdulillah, now it's easier. Okay, let's see if any other question. Funeral is delayed because the family is not cooperating. Okay, when say cooperating, they're in the hospital, not leaving the hospital for 6-7 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, not completing the forms, right? And one, you already told the permit document, this family not filing the direction. Which cemetery, I'm going to take your question in a minute. Which cemetery to bury loved one is the one you guys will decide, depending on family preference considerations. One of the sisters, every time she meets me, she says, brother, you remember me, right? Nice landscape. I said, sister, she needs a nice landscape cemetery. I said, go check yourself while you are alive and tell me which one. This is, you know, don't worry about money. I said okay, so which cemetery to bury loved one? Okay, this is important also, depending upon family preference and considerations. When family is picking up the cemetery, what do you think in their mind are? What are the factors they consider? One of the factors they consider is how close is the family, the cemetery from home, right? One of the factor. Family think this way, right? And I get all the time, no, brother, this cemetery because it's only 10 minutes away from my home or 15 minutes away from my home, right? This is one of the factor. Another factor, cost, how much the cost of the cemetery, right? Another factor may be cemetery upkeep and records, right? The family wants to make sure that they know when they bury their loved one and they go 6 months later, they want to know that where my loved one is buried. I don't get involved in the religious part because some of them says it doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine. But families are very adamant. They want to know exactly where it is buried. 6 months later, they will call me, say, brother, I cannot find my father's grave. Remember I told you in the arrangement conference, I'm just making arrangement in this cemetery for you, and I always went pros and cons with you too. But you still decided to bury in this cemetery because of whatever reason, right? So these are some of the factors family keep in their mind, right? The cost, how far is home, upkeep, records. What else what factors other family? Any other factors you guys can think of? Other family members who are buried there, yeah, that's another. They have Muslim, is this a Muslim cemetery only or they have a Muslim section, right? So these are different factors the family think when they are choosing the cemetery, right? Let me ask you this. If a cemetery which is 15 minutes away from your home, 15 minutes away from home, but their cemetery cost is $7,000, let's say. And there's another cemetery which is half an hour away from your home and it's $3,500 or $3,000. The chances our family will say, well, 15 minutes extra drive, both cemeteries are same. Both cemeteries are same, with upkeep record and all of the maintenance. Half an hour, 15 minutes extra drive, half the cost, I'm going to take that one. Because this is from Allah anyway, right? If someone buried, the family visits every day for the first week, then every 2 weeks, then every month, then every Eid, right? This is in general I'm talking about, right? So because at that time the emotions are very high, so the family is not thinking, and then later on they can say, oh, the cost of the funeral, $7,000 for the cemetery happened. So again, in arrangement conference, I discuss and I tell them, I have 2 roles here, funeral director, legal, everything. Now, forget this funeral director, I'm your brother. I'm giving you my advice, not as a funeral director anymore, giving you advice. I'm telling you, these are the factors you're thinking. Maybe you want to pick this cemetery, which is 15 minutes. For example, if the family is picking between Greenwood Cemetery and Oak Lawn Memorial Park and lives in, let's say, in North Brunswick. Oak Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery from there is 10 minutes drive. Greenwood Cemetery is half an hour drive. Both cemeteries have good records and proper management and everything. The family will most probably will say, okay, Greenwood, half an hour, right? I think we are done. Again, Muslim versus non-Muslim cemetery, etc. That's it for me. I'm going to take questions one by one. But he was asking before. Let me take it.
There are 2 questions here. Sisters asking. One is if you can share the presentation. And about second, what is your cost?
Yeah, I'm gonna explain that. So this presentation, I don't share it. This is for me because these are just pointers for me, and I'm explaining them. This is not comprehensive. Okay, so the funeral home cost, let me just bring this one, okay? Let me see if I have.
And I have one more.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Since we have to do legally everything, I need to put this thing here first, and then I'm going to just make it easy for you. See this? I don't know if you can see this or not. Is it coming or no? It's not? Why? Oh, maybe. Is it coming now? Maybe I need to. Yeah. निकाल के लगा Why is not I just opened a different file. Yeah. This PowerPoint is coming or no? I am in IT 27 years, but since after that I don't get involved in IT at all. Last 4 years I quit my IT job because this work is too much. Is it coming? No?
It should come.
Extend maybe?
No, duplicate. Yeah, now it's coming.
Okay, now let me open the other one.
No.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, see that general price list? General price list? Maybe you can see it's very small. I can make it bigger. Okay, remember I was telling you general price list approved by Federal Trade Commission, New Jersey Mortuary Board? It has all these costs here. For Muslims to get confused, it's not 98% of the items not valid here, but it's still we have to give the family this and explain the family from this. Okay, all the costs. So simple cost is this way. Okay, there are 5 different categories. There are 5 different categories. Let me just open this, and I will explain it to you. Yeah, no, bulk. That's why we are not allowed to do bulk number. I'm just gonna show you a statement of funeral goods and services. So I can explain it to you. You can see this? You can see this? Right? Okay. Okay, so all of this goes here and then here. Professional services of funeral director and staff, 2050, 2050. What this includes is in the general price list. Working with the hospital, the staff, medical examiner, whatever, 2050, okay? Then you have, if the embalming need to be done, if embalming, but let's say we avoid embalming. They're doing some work or it's the machine? Okay, 10 minutes, inshallah, we'll done. Okay, so the professional services or basic service of funeral director and staff. This comes from the general price list 2050, and I have different setup for different mosques also, depending if the family wants basic funeral services. You will be surprised, a lot of families do not want basic funeral services. Okay, they want flower car, they want big limousine, they want nice casket, all kind of things. So what I'm explaining you here, if the family wants that kind of thing, then we do not discount anything. Because if that's what you want, and some family want the viewing to happen in a funeral home and pay $1,000 an hour, $1,000 per hour for viewing because they want that way. Again, remember, we have to follow their wish. So anyway, 2050 here, basic services of funeral director and staff. Let's say no embalming and we're doing basic, right? Use of facilities and staff, visitation, viewing, and all of that. If family do not want viewing, then it's zero. But if family wants 15-minute viewing, that's family members are coming here, quickly see the face and move on, no charge. But if they want set up for 2 hours, 1 hour, then I need to bring, you always have seen, if I come here, my other staff member is here too, always. We need to manage everything. So it's 0 to 450, 0 to 450. Then you have other staff and related services. There's one here, the licensed funeral director. The licensed funeral director that need to go to the cemetery to witness the burial sign on of the papers is 350, 350. So if someone add this number, you will get the number, and I'll tell you what is the discount we put for different mosques. Transportation, transfer of deceased from the place of death to the funeral home. When I say funeral home, it will be either MCMC, ISCJ, wherever the facilities is 375, within 15 miles. But if we have to send it, like last week I sent to get from New York, it's not gonna be same, there was a family pays extra to the mortuary. I use, majority of time, I use a state mortuary transportation services from the state. I don't do myself. 95% I use the other services because if I start doing removing of the bodies too, I will be done probably. We're tired so much, I cannot do at all. Because if I'm moving the body at 12 midnight and then coming back at 3 p.m., 3 a.m., a Fajr prayer, you get up, and then Janazah, how am I gonna do anything? So we use state mortuary transportation service. Yes?
I have one other thing which came across the organ donation.
Let me finish this and organ donation. Just keep your question, okay? So transfer of deceased. Then the vehicle the family wants to use for funeral procession. The family wants big limousine, hearse, all of that. If you do it, I rent it for you. I rent it for you. I don't keep any of that because that is $150,000 limousine, right? And the family wants, insisting on that one. One of the family was like, brother, make sure when you go pick our loved one, do not take funeral van. I said, we are going to the back, at the back where the shipping area is, shipping and receiving. Pick the body from there. No, I want my father to come respectfully in a big hearse. I back off, okay, whatever. You will pay more money then. Don't worry about money. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that hearse is $1,250 if they want, or funeral van is $425. Okay. This direct cremation and all still have to stay there, even though we don't do it, but we must put in this format. Then you have this merchandise casket. Casket can range anywhere from $495 to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Imagine if you want a upgraded casket with pillow and all of that inside. The funeral will be delayed maybe 2 days because we have to order that. I don't keep that, right? So you have to get that, but $495, I'm going to do everything basic. Vault, a vault is required by the cemetery. Maybe you are picking a cemetery which requires vault. Vault may be another $1,000 or $1,200 for you, right? And from our perspective is this temporary gift marker $50. If you add all of that, it comes to $3,750. I'm doing everything basic. Depending upon which mosque we are doing, we put some discount depending upon the family financial situation. If the family picks a cemetery, which is they are spending $7,000 on this instead of $3,000, $7,000, do not expect us to give any discount. But if the family is needy, we do have some zakat fund we use from there. If the family has nothing at all, our choice is to tell the mosque, their president, that this is the situation in your community, this brother, what can you do? They may donate the grave, they may do this, but the funeral cost from the Muslim funeral services will come anywhere from $2,500 to $3,750, depending what exactly the family wants to do. It may go higher too if the family decides for caskets and limousine and all kind of things. All right? So this is the cost. And the state registrar, the cash disbursement, the state registrar will simply just put $63 for 10 death certificate from the state registrar. If you want from the township, then maybe, because they charge $20 per copy, depending which township is that, you do that. Okay? Any question in the cost here? At the end of the day, the family decide what they want to do. So $3,750, but it comes to around $2,500 when depending on the family and situation. And as I said, if the family wants like a posh kind of funeral, and I should not use that word, but the family wants it, right?
How frequently is this price revised?
So I basically revise sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year, sometimes even 3 months. Like nowadays, everything is so expensive. I recently revised it. I increased the cost for the big limousine because now when I rent it, they charge more.
This is all separate from the cemetery.
Right, from the cemetery. Yeah, separate from cemetery or state registrar or township.
Cemetery costs include the grave site and what else?
Opening, closing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Jersey State Memorial Park. Jersey State Memorial Park, grave plot is $1,300, opening, closing is $1,500. Marlborough Muslim Memorial, grave plot is $1,500, opening, closing is $1,400. Greenwood Cemetery, $2,550 grave plot, and opening, closing is $2,700 something. They just recently bumped their price like $800 more. Yes, brother, you were asking?
Yeah, about the organ donation.
Organ donation, right? I should put in that my slide, there's another reason the funeral gets delayed. Organ donation, okay? The state law is whenever anybody who passes in the hospital, automatically the sharing network get informed. And the sharing network can come and harvest the organs and tissues and whatever, right? So another tip I tell the family right away is to tell the hospital nurse that you do not want any organ sharing, okay? Even if the person who passed away on his, in license you put it, I want to donate But that became null and void anyway. Remember I told you, the point is the person who passed away cannot make decision about his, her own funeral. You cannot make, you can write in will everything, whatever. Who's gonna make the decision for you? Your legal next of kin or their delegate. You can say, send me to Pakistan, do this, and it's for a good reason, right? Let's say it's legally enforceable. Let's say it's legally enforceable. And you wrote, when I passes away, send me to Pakistan or bury in this cemetery. Now you passed away, family don't have money to send to Pakistan, family don't have resources to pay for this expensive cemetery you put in your will. What they're going to do? That's why you cannot make decision about it. So for the sharing network, what you do is, I immediately tell the family to let the hospital know, and then I basically, depending upon the time, I connect to the sharing network myself, do a conference call with the legal next of kin, and I remain quiet because the sharing network don't like the funeral director to be saying that this family do not want organ sharing. I tell the family, all you have to say, I do not want any organ sharing, please release the body right away. And the family says that, I'm quiet on the phone, just to expedite help the family.
So from the time of the death and body taking, when they actually remove the organs without before being found?
You have to do it quickly. You have to do it quickly. So I don't know how, I think maybe every hospital is different, and they really, the sharing network really wants to.
They won't remove any organs without consent of the family.
Uh,
I work around the way. They won't.
Okay.
So you need consent from the family for any organ donation. But they won't release the body. So it's important.
They do not release the body, that's why. Because if they have to end up sharing, it's held by sharing network, and when we call them, they say, hey, this person, we are coming to pick the body. No, it's not released because the sharing network is holding it.
So it's important to inform them right away.
It is important.
It will not delay the funeral process.
Yeah, it will get delayed, yeah. It will be delayed, definitely. Let me take from Brother Arshad. No. Let's say, Brother Afzal, I walk from here, somebody shot me, and I die. And in my will, I wrote, please, no autopsy. What do you think the police gonna do? They have to do investigation. They're gonna say, no, he can write whatever Brother Afzal wrote. We have to do autopsy to determine, because it's a criminal case, this, what. So it's not enforceable, as I said. Once the person passes away, cannot make decision about his own funeral. The only thing person can do legally is to pay for everything. So some of the family members, we can do pre-arrangements. I don't do it because too much regulation, the paperwork. Pre-arrangements. Pre-arrangement means the family can come sign paper, we prepare the irrevocable trust, and the family pays the whole funeral cost, including funeral home, the cemetery, everything. Right? And that funds do not get deposited in funeral home account. It gets deposited in the trust with the state of New Jersey fund. It's $1 billion fund. So, and it's for a good reason. Let's say you're working with one of the funeral home. When the time comes, that funeral home already filed bankruptcy, done. If they deposit in their account, it's gone. So it's stayed in the state here. And when that person passes away, that funeral home applies with the state, and they release the fund to that funeral home. So you cannot, again, your answer, you cannot make the decision about your. Yes, sir.
So for the members here, how do they find your contact information? And in cases like.
For MCMC? Yeah, it's on the website.
So that is the.
On the website, it only says, for funeral, call Brother Afzal, this number, and must have my license number. That's it.
And just in case,
Uh,
not available, you are on.
Yeah, so you have other funeral home provide services too, right?
They are.
Yeah, like I have Park Funeral Home.
It could be
No. So let's say you call me, right? Let's say you call me and brother Afzal is in hospital. What are you going to do? You're going to start picking and call somebody else now to provide service. Park Funeral Home is there. Muslim Funeral Services of New York is there. The Janazah project. Who is Ar-Rayyan is there. Ibn Turab is there. They provide the service, inshallah. Yeah, this brother, let me ask.
For hospice patients or comfort care patients, do you prefer to be called at the time of death, or if the death is anticipated,
Yes, it's better to be prepared. So you don't call the police when the time comes, things like that. So right now, majority of family I serve, they call me in advance. They say the death is about to occur, tomorrow we are removing ventilator. So they understand. So now, for the last 2 years, what I started doing is, when family calls me for the funeral itself, actually the person passed away, I create a WhatsApp group, because everybody's on WhatsApp. So if there are 5 brothers of the deceased or 5 family members who have stake in the funeral, everybody in that group. So I'm not talking to, because 12 midnight, one family member will call me, then after 12:30, another 1:30 and all of that. No, everybody at one place, and we keep all communication at one place. Much easier to organize it. Yeah, but pre-arrangement, people does it. But as far as pre-arrangement of actual paying everything for the cemetery and all, very little. I don't get involved. I just give to my other funeral director to do it. And because then the mortuary board have more regulations, too many paperwork for me to do.
This is my last question, sorry. On the behalf of Minister or something, they didn't speak to me, but I just want to get information. What is the age limit of become a volunteer to do the washing? And is there any chances for these people to do internship with you? That's a good question.
So here, they cannot do the internship with me because it requires now for them to embalm the bodies too, 75 bodies, to practice on 75 bodies, embalming and all of that. Since I got license, I don't even do embalming. So they have to find a funeral home where they do the embalming too. So even if my other funeral director, Ron, who is Kimball Funeral Home, maybe they may be able to do it there, but I don't do embalming. Yeah, so for internship, they have to working on 25 arrangements are required by the mortuary board and 75 embalming practices. I don't do embalming at all, so that part is done. The arrangement conference one and all of that, they can do with me, but when they register with the mortuary board, you have to register with one funeral home only. So either Muslim Funeral Services or XYZ Funeral Home. If Muslim Funeral Services don't do embalming, how are you going to get your license?
What is the age limit for volunteers to come and
Age limit for volunteers to wash the body. You can imagine, right? You can imagine. I can say 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 13-year-old also. But again, if someone who is younger, sign the paper for me. Well, legally I'm talking for ourselves, right? If he's less than 21, I have some papers to sign. But again, they can come and do washing even if they're 13-year-old, 14. I have people who's 14-year-old, they come wash, but they sign papers for me. I don't take risk. Yes, brother. Then. Right. Right. So for men, all of the washing are led either by me, I lead the washing, or my other staff member, Amir Quraishi, he leads it, right? And then they just follow our direction, whoever attending, okay? Even though I do want more men to prepare yourself to lead the washing. To lead the washing. Leading the washing is one thing, and just following is one thing. Leading means when you are leading, you are in charge inside. You have to make sure regulated medical waste is thrown off properly. You have to make sure everybody's PPE equipments are, everybody's, protecting themselves. Make sure everybody sign the papers, all of that. Yes. Yeah, majority. Well, so when I start the washing, or my staff who lead the washing, the first thing we tell the family, whatever you see here stays here. Right, Arshad? Whatever you see with the body stays with you. It's an amana, right? It's an amana. You don't disclose the condition of the body, because sometimes the body is not in a good shape, and we should not be making any judgments, things like that. We really don't investigate anything. So a body comes, whichever way it comes, it comes. Now families sometimes say, hey, what happened? Why is cut from here? Why is this from there? Why this tube is there? This. Our job is just to receive the body, whichever way the body is coming, and try our best to do the ghusl. Remove that. Sometimes I don't remove the tubes. And I tell the family, if I remove this tube, the blood may not stop at all. For non-Muslims, we do many things, to stop the blood and all of that. But for Muslims, we don't do. And plus, none of the facility are equipped to handle that kind of thing. So if the body comes from the medical examiner, and if we feel like this need to be resutured, because the medical examiner, one here, 3, that's it. And organs are visible and all of that. So we take it to the funeral home to suture it, because we cannot do these things at these washing facilities, not allowed. There's a shrouding for men with 3 sheets, for female 5 sheets. Maybe one day you can arrange another Janazah workshop for Imam to tell the community what to do while we are washing. And your family do ask me, like, what should I recite? I said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur, anything you do, right? And so Imam can explain what we should do, the washing and kafan and all of that, but the actual training is actual training. Shrouding, remember we were making the kafan here. One time I showed here how to shroud the body. So there was one volunteer brother, remember, I think. But one volunteer brother, I left the face open. Okay, anybody else? How long? How long washing takes? No, the permits. It depends. So it depends. Doctor certification. The first thing is the doctor certification. If the doctor certifies, I may be able to get the permit in 1 hour, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 1 day. So there are a series of steps that need to be completed. In general, at least 10, 12 hours. Yeah, in general. But sometimes it's happening 3, 4 hours too. Depending, the family completed the forms, and we apply the permits, and the doctor certifies the death. One doctor may make the pronouncement, another doctor actually certifies it. Any other question? We will wrap up. Done, I guess. Any? That's good, inshallah. Any other?
No, just a question coming that when we're going to be doing a class for actually, you
Right. That, because the thing is that, I mean, I can do it. I can do it because we have been doing it for a long time. But then people, or if I do it, we need an imam sitting next to me. So because people are going to ask me, now it is religious part of the funeral. People are going to ask, no, imam, we should be washing this way. We need to recite this thing. We need to do, no need for wudu or this, right? I'm sitting here. I can explain how to do the washing and all of that, but again, people are going to ask those kind of questions too. Should we do 1 taslim or 2 taslim, or should we read sana or no? And you know what I mean?
Something like that.
Yeah, we can arrange. You can arrange that. I'll be sitting here, imam explaining. I can explain that. Okay, now this is for sisters. If the sisters are listening to me, 2 weeks ago I did the training for them for the legal part of the funeral. If you have not attended that meeting, you can send me a text message, and I'll send you the recording. So you can, it's a 1-hour recording. It will tell you what to do legally and, handle the body and regulated medical waste and all kind of things, inshallah. Any other question? No? Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah. Okay, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. Well, let's close with the Surah Al-Asr. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-Asr inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Maybe some of the youngsters should think about becoming a funeral director. Yeah?